Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. I'm really excited getting ready for the trip to Pacificon. We'll be taking off in a few days. I'll have videos up during those days, thanks to Callum, my assistant. But I'll get you videos of what it looks like at Pacificon when I get there. Okay, today's question is from Curt Sardison, KB9JQU, and he's talking about grounding at his shack and how well that works. But his question has to do, what do you do for grounding if you're doing parks on the air or some other mobile operation like that? Is it possible to put a ground rod in for those circumstances? Certainly it is. The problem is getting it out. I once traveled to a U.S. Army location in Fort Huachuca where they were practicing communications exercises and so on. And I saw that they used ground rods. And I asked them, what do you do when you move on? Do you just pound them down so they don't show anymore? He says, no, the environmental people won't let us do that. So they actually had one of the old-fashioned car wreckers, one that would pick up the vehicle by the front and take it. And they used those to wrap around the ground rod and actually slowly pull them out of the ground because they don't want to leave them there. They can be a danger if they're exposed, and they're a tripping hazard, and a rather nasty one at that. Or if someone falls on it, it can easily penetrate you, which a rock would not normally do. So, do hams do that when they're operating POTA? POTA stands for Parks on the Air, and it is an ongoing, informal, well, semi-formal organization that gives points and stuff, and you can go into national parks or monuments or whatever, set up a station, which could be as simple as you in your truck, and you operate there. There's all kinds of rules that you can find for POTA, but it's a very popular sort of thing. Well, what do you do for grounding? It's very nice when you're dealing with the radio and coaxial line and an antenna, like it might be a buddy pole or a mag loop or something like that. And if you don't have a reference ground, you can get RFI in the shack. If you don't have RFI in the shack, if you're able to operate without problems, then you're in good shape. Fine, don't mess with what works. What can you use as a ground? If you need a ground, use the vehicle you're in. Ground to the chassis of that. One of the easiest ways to get to that ground is to go under the hood and ground to the negative pole of the battery, because that is grounded to the chassis. Now, obviously, your car or truck or RV isn't a proper ground, but it does act as a counterpoise. And a counterpoise might be just enough to do the trick for you. If you are operating, say, under a tent or under a canopy with your radio set up on a card table and your antenna nearby so that you can attract passersby, what you may need to do is just a counterpoise. It's just a long wire, 40 feet or so, thrown out on the ground behind you. Make sure it's not a tripping hazard. And you can use that as a counterpoise if that helps. If it doesn't help, don't do it. Sometimes moving that wire around or changing the shape or whatever it may be can help you a little bit with grounding. In all of the portable operations I've ever done, I've never had to concern myself with RFI, with the RF interfering with the radio gear. It just seems to work just fine. It is temporary. Hopefully you're not going to work under a thunderstorm. So if a thunderstorm does come your way, disconnect everything and put it back in the vehicle. that's the best way to protect against it. So I hope that helps, and I hope you enjoy those POTA activities. Send me a couple little pieces of video that I can include in an upcoming Ask Dave about POTA activities, because I do have a bigger one planned. But there you go. We do have a giveaway going. It's for a radio, this radio right here. This is from India, and this is from hfsigs.com, hfsigs.com. A very strange chassis box. This is a QRP radio, all band, and you can do either CW or sideband on it. The fact that you can do sideband on it means you can also do FT8 and PSK31 on this radio. It has a BNC connector on the back, so if your cables all have PL239s on them, you can get an adapter for that very easily. It's got a little USB port in the back so that you can reprogram if there's more current firmware. I will include a power connector with an Anderson power pole on it. This is the mic that's provided. It's a Baofeng mic. It's not a speaker mic. It's where the earphones go. This is where the key goes. Okay, and so all you have to do to transmit CW is just press key down. And this will be giveaway number 3. To enter giveaway number 3, send a postcard, QSL card, or a single page letter in an envelope to Dave Kassler, KE0OG, P.O. Box 98, Ridgeway, Colorado, 81432, and include with it your name, call sign, your address to which you would like it shipped if you win, and your phone number in case I have a problem. I do not need your email address. And at the end of the drawing, all of the entries will be thrown away, so that protects your privacy. And even the person who wins, I'll throw their entry in the box with it so they get that back too. So I don't keep any records of that sort of stuff, because I know a lot of people are very concerned about privacy these days, and I try to protect that. So thank you for listening today. Please check like, please click subscribe. Clicking subscribe tells YouTube that you think this is a cool channel that they ought to share with others. And I'd really appreciate it if you did that. Until we next meet, 73.